Okay, welcome everybody to the main event 127. Instead of doing an interview like we frequently do, I'm actually going to be giving a training session today on advanced prompting. Now, this was something that I had used elements of this in the training that I did with four different advertising agencies, creative departments, teaching them how to use Midjourney and also the Photoshop AI capabilities. Then I put this thing together as something that might be used by Shia's AI, and they have it, but they haven't worked it into their schedule. So I finally asked them if I could put it on Facebook and have it there. So 70 people, as of my last count, had seen it on Facebook, but I figured that by doing it here, what we will be able to do is to stop it periodically, make additional comments, answer questions. The video is about 43 minutes long, so we'll have additional time for questions and comments. So I look forward to hearing your thoughts and everything on it. Before we get going, we always like to touch base on the news for the week. Adobe Firefly announced sound effects, and there's a demo in all of these things are covered in the comment section of today's event. Their little demo, a woman wants to have a car horn, so she says car horn, and then she goes beep, beep, and then it gives her three different sounds or different tones of car horns going beep, beep. It was an announcement, 3DD Social World. Now you can tour it with friends because they have multiplayer now. And so you can go on with a friend and walk through and talk and see things together, which is going to be, a fun thing to do. I don't know how many people you can do at a time, but I would imagine it would be, could be more than just two people. Wondercraft has announced Wanda, WONDA. Wondercraft is a video editor, but Wanda is an addition for content creation, and it integrates right into their editing program. And I was introduced to this week by a gentleman that's been working on it. I put a link there to their website so you can see that. Tridib Ghosh has worked with Runway to create a interactive, non-linear game world. This was done in conjunction with Runway. He's done different games before with him and his people in his company. But anyways, he's created this game. It's a demonstration that can take a look at. We've been friends with Sachin and Diana at New Lemon for a long time. I haven't done any plugging of them for a while, and so I did put a recent post in there talking about some new capabilities in consistent character and consistent character creating different poses of them quite quickly and easily. So that's in there. Catalyst AI is an agent for video production. That is an interesting thing to take a look at. A link to a new Polyform AI, which has a great workflow for revising image. So you start with an image, and then you can prompt change the car to a convertible, and it will change that. And then you can say change the color of the car to green and or whatever, and do that kind of thing with very simple prompts. And it just is all linear in terms of working with the initial picture and keeping everything consistent except for what you are prompting. So that was very interesting. I always enjoy Sherry Horwitz's posts. So I frequently put her posts in, even if it's not about news necessarily, but she did an interesting uh, uh, fake travel ad using Midjourney images and video, talks about the fact that she was able to put this commercial together in like 10 minutes. So it's worth taking a look at. And I will mention this again at the end, but there's also a link to next week's main event, 128, where we're interviewing Bryant Lipinski. Very interesting stuff that he does. I think that his work is very unique, and a lot of anatomical surrealism, I guess, would be the best way to describe it. So I'm going to share my screen now and start running this video. And like I said, periodically I will stop and make additional comments. Main reason for additional comments is the fact that when I put this thing together, it was actually put together when Midjourney 6.1 was out. And so obviously we've had 7 for a while, and there are things that are different with 7, and I'll probably make comments about that as we go along. And again, welcome to ask questions, share any of your thoughts. I'm going to go to full screen.
See you there.
Okay.
Is that the same? Sorry, is that the same deep dive you had on YouTube the other day?
Yes, it is. It's the same thing. 70 people have seen this, but the thing is that by playing this now, I can make additional comments and you can ask questions and everything. So even if you've seen this before, hopefully there's some new information or a reminder of something that you saw that keep in the back.
Yeah, I watched it this week. It was very insightful. Thank you.
Okay, here it goes. I'm Big Al Gruswitz, and for 31 years I have been an illustrator in advertising, owning my freelance business, Boundless Creativity. Before that, I was an art director and associate creative director for 30 years, primarily in New York City at Saatchi & Saatchi. My work has been selected by Lesureur's Archives 4 times for their 200 Best Digital Artists Worldwide annual. Additionally, last June, in their annual of Creative Excellence, I was ranked number 2 in the top 10 digital artists in the United States of America. Today we're talking about advanced prompting, the purpose being to get what you want instead of surprises or disappointments. I'm starting right off with this picture because I think this is actually the most important part of the presentation today in the points that I'm trying to make. We have this picture. Here is the prompt. Photographic close-up portrait of a beautiful red-headed high-fashion model in her early 30s, uncontrollably laughing out loud at a warmly lit cocktail party surrounded by people with drinks in one of their hands. She is the center of attention, wearing a beautiful evening gown, dangling earrings, and matching necklace. Shallow depth of field, bouquet. AR11, no exposed cleavage, quality 2, stylized 50. Now let me explain why I've written this prompt this way. First of all, many of you use a prompt term like beautiful high fashion model. Well, if you do that, and that's all that you've said, then what happens is you're going to get that picture of that woman looking at the camera with her mouth just slightly open so you see a little bit of her teeth. And that will happen repeatedly because that's what Midjourney has done in terms of preparing images based on that term, beautiful high fashion model. The other thing was, if you are talking about a person wearing a beautiful evening gown, Midjourney will give you a beautiful evening gown, and I guarantee that it will have a plunging neckline. Every one of the pictures that I've seen using that term, plunging neckline. So I purposely put in the parameter no exposed cleavage, just because I didn't want to have that be something in this picture. I'm sorry, but somebody has their microphone on.
Yeah, no, I'd have to put like some kind of mitigation.
She's got a full apartment. I mean, it's a 1-bedroom apartment. Nice. She's got washer and dryer, full kitchen, everything. Yeah. So she's, nice. I mean, it's.
Okay. I turned that off. Alvin, it was yours. To point out that it's possible to change what you're getting when you are prompting accordingly. I did say I wanted a redhead. Instead of having that mouth just showing a little bit of teeth, I put in that she is laughing uncontrollably. That is why we've got this great expression here. I picked this particular picture because of the fact that it not only is beautiful of her, but we also have a crowd in the background and they're looking at her. What we need to look at is, so how did we get here? You don't necessarily come up with that prompt right away. And what I like to do is I like to start off with my basic idea and then see what I end up with the image, and then go from there in terms of what I need to do to alter the prompt. So the first prompt that I wrote was portrait of a beautiful high-fashion model uncontrollably laughing out loud at a cocktail party surrounded by people with drinks in one of their hands. She is center of attention, wearing a beautiful evening gown, no exposed cleavage, and 3:4 is the aspect ratio, and Q2 for quality, giving you more detail, and stylized 50. Also, you notice that I said drink in one of their hands. If you write drink in their hands, I have seen multiple times where the people have a drink in both of their hands. So I didn't want that to happen. So I repeated the prompt, and this time changing the aspect ratio to square because that's what I wanted to have for this presentation. And we got some more pictures. And that gave me, some more laughing women, interesting pictures. But I realized I wanted to have more attention on her than everybody in the picture. So this is why we changed the prompt in order to say shallow depth of field and bokeh. Bokeh is that term, the photography term, that gives you those light circles in the background, and it is also something that gives you that shallow depth of field. So eventually I decided that I wanted to have a redhead in the image, and so I ran the prompt with that added in, and also dangling earrings and matching necklace. Now some of these pictures you see, I did get earrings and necklace. I ran this prompt 4 times, and I ran it 3 more times. Then I picked the lower left-hand picture and chose it to be upscaled. You can see it doesn't have as warm a tone as some of the other pictures. So in Photoshop, I warmed up the picture with changing some of the color levels to get what we ended up with. AI topics for this presentation. You don't always get what you want. What's the subject? Sometimes you get more than you want. Thinking like an art director. Review of prompt structure. All about parameters. Style references and consistent character. Using the tools within the program. Why study one-word prompts? Examining various prompt samples. And the prompt for this particular picture was photo businesswoman in her 30s wearing glasses and holding a yellow paper tablet, holding a pen, checking her list on the tablet. You need to know what tools are available to you and what are the advantages and disadvantages of each. First, get good training. And second, experiment, 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 experiment. You will find that that is my mantra. I truly believe the most important thing about what you're doing is to experiment so that you can try and see what works and what doesn't work. I remember when I was working in New York in this one agency, people used to come up to me and say, do you know how to solve this problem? And it was usually something in either Photoshop or Illustrator or InDesign. And I always had an answer for them. And the woman said to me one time, how do you know all this stuff? I said, it's simple. I've already made that mistake. That's what comes from experimenting. learning what works, learning what doesn't work. But if you don't try different things, you're not going to know the answers to how to solve a problem or how to get what you want. And you don't always get what you want. The one-word prompt for this is woman. So I changed the prompt to photo of woman. Okay, so we got photos of women. When you write a prompt and you're not getting exactly what you want, is the problem that the bot just doesn't get it? Or is the problem there's something wrong with your prompt? I think of the first 4 images that an AI program gives me as the bot saying, is this what you want? If not, tell me more about what you have in mind and I'll try to give it to you. So let's look at this in terms of what is the subject of our prompt. Now we know that we're supposed to put the subject in the first part of the prompt. Here's a prompt that I wrote. The first writing of it was a large farm field being cultivated by a large tractor pulling a commercial farm cultivator, turning the soil, sunny late spring day. Is a picture of the large field being cultivated, and that's the subject of the picture. That wasn't really what I had in mind. So I changed the subject. Close-up dramatic angle of the large tractor pulling a commercial farm cultivator, turning the soil in a large field, sunny late spring day. Okay, so now the close-up dramatic angle of the large tractor is a subject. That's still not what I wanted. So once again, changing the subject, close-up dramatic angle of a large commercial farm cultivator pulled by a large tractor, turning the soil in a large field, sunny late spring day. That's the picture that I wanted. Then it comes with changing things, trying different things. Sometimes you get more than you want. Dragster, souped up car at the starting line, revving up the car's engine and starting to take off with burning tires and a cloud of smoke trailing. Well, I got more than I wanted. Look on the upper left side of the smoke. I don't know what that thing is up there. Okay, there's a simple way to solve that problem in Midjourney. We can use the tool Vary Region in Midjourney. In this case, I'm showing you this window in Discord. It would look a little different in the web site. But anyways, we select Vary Region, and then we mark that area. And then we give it an additional prompt, remove and fill with dark smoke. So that's how we end up with this picture the way we'd like it. Prompt, a column of smoke rising out of Aladdin's lamp. As he rubs its side, rising out of the column of smoke is a giant genie in Arab clothing and a turban. Well, we got Aladdin. We got the smoke coming out of the lamp. We didn't get any genie. So let's change the prompt again. The giant great genie wearing Arabian clothes and a turban with legs blending into the smoke coming from the oil lamp that Aladdin is rubbing, small in the lower left-hand corner, magical and exciting. Well, we got the genie. We did not get Aladdin this time. Okay, so what I do is commercial art, not fine art. So I don't need to solve everything in the original program if we can solve it another way. So first you bring both images into Photoshop. Then move Aladdin down in the frame using Photoshop's AI capabilities to extend the image at the top, and using Photoshop AI to silhouette the genie, and do some traditional masking to get the final result. When I saw this picture of a train yard, I knew immediately how Aiden had taken this picture. It's a drone shot, and the drone is up high looking down at the train yard. But as he lowers the drone, he takes and tilts it up so that by the time that it gets down to the ground level, you're now getting the front of the train. The question I had was really a challenge of myself and also of the program. Is it possible for me to write a prompt that would give me this same kind of effect? Well, I tried it in like 3 different programs. Midjourney at first, then I went to Musavir, and then I went to Bing, posed the question to Bing as to could it write a prompt that could do what I wanted to do. So its response was, that sounds like an interesting problem. Then they wrote a prompt. So I took that prompt. Since I was in Bing already, and it uses DALL-E 3 to create images, I decided to try it in DALL-E 3. I also tried the prompt in Midjourney and also in Musavir again. DALL-E 3 was the only one where I was able to get this picture. So the prompt that I used, combining what Bing gave me and some modifications to the prompt, a drone camera capturing a vertical panorama of a Kansas cornfield, starting from bird's eye view, looking straight down and tilting up as the drone quickly descends to the lower view of the cornfield, creating a curved perspective of the ground and the horizon with realistic colors and lighting and a clear sky. It also generated 4 images using DALL-E 3, and one of the 4 images gave me this result. Wow, it actually worked, at least once. So let's talk about thinking like an art director. But first, let's look at this prompt. And there's that mouth I mentioned. Photo close-up of a beautiful black woman outside West Coast Ocean Beach, lit only by the last glimmer of sunlight after sunset. Why is that sunset? Because you're only going to have sunset over the ocean on the West Coast. So that was an obvious reason for selecting that. In the next few slides, I'll let you read the prompt as we're going through the points that we're trying to make here. Art directors are the ideal prompters because their job is to explain to the photographer or an illustrator just what they want as an end result. They understand lighting, atmosphere, style, composition, and what is the most important thing they are trying to communicate. What is the central focus of the desired image? The only difference is they are communicating to a bot who is young, lacking their experience, and has a lot of references to search through, but it may not have references for exactly what they're looking for. For example, medical knowledge, detailed and accurate anatomy, etc. All right, look at this prompt. Full standing male human showing muscle anatomy, squatting and lifting a large cube. Well, he's squatting, but he's got his foot on the cube. He's not lifting the cube, but I like the overall image. However, this is still not anatomically correct, and I haven't seen an anatomically correct image created by an AI program yet. So if you're not an art director, you need to learn how to think like one. You need to look at things and really see them. Look at an outdoor scene in your mind. What do you see? Describe it in details out loud. What kind of trees are around? What color are the flowers? What time of day is it? What time of year? What is the light like? Is it cloudy? Is it windy, making ripples on the pond? What kind of animals do you see? How close are they? Now write down your description, and you've written a prompt. And remember, experiment, 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 experiment. A woman on LinkedIn contacted me a few months ago telling me what she was trying to get in an image, but all she was getting was pretty young white girls in their early 20s. So she described to me what she was trying to get, and obviously she hadn't prompted that. But before I communicated back with her, I wrote this prompt. An ordinary-looking dark-skinned woman in her middle age, working in a hot kitchen preparing potato salad. She's sweating. Her hair's disheveled. She's tired. Room dark lit by natural window light. So what have we done here? We've established that this isn't just a pretty white woman. She's a dark-skinned woman. She's middle-aged. And the important thing is, what is the mood? She's sweating. Her hair is disheveled. She's tired. The room is dark, lit by natural window light. So I got these 3 pictures and I showed them to her. And she said, that's exactly what I was going for. The point was, you know, if you want to have pictures like this, you have to describe it, but talk about the atmosphere, talk about the emotions. What is she going through? You know, she's tired, she's sweating, she doesn't want to be doing this, but there she is, and we're getting the kind of pictures we wanted. Let's talk about consistent characters with Midjourney 6.1. This is a picture that I created to be my character reference. Portrait photo, worried young woman concerned about her future. So then for the next picture, I used it as a style reference. A photo of a young worried woman looking at herself and talking to herself in the mirror. And then the character reference, the C-ref, was in this case a URL. And the character weight is 100. So it's really following very closely. You can see looks a lot like the first picture. Now, what I did in order to get these pictures is I made the character weight 0 because I wanted the woman to be dressed differently and have different hairstyle and doing something besides looking worried. So this is a photo of a young woman dressed in high fashion, evening gown, up hairdo, long dangling earrings, city lights background, the character reference. And the other one is a similar kind of prompt, except the woman is laughing. Now, we certainly did get on the left a different hairstyle and different clothing. And then when I added laughing, we went back to her original haircut, but still got a nice picture out of it. I wanted to experiment, there's that word again. I wanted to experiment to see what we could do with using 3D cartoon characters as character references. I wanted to see, could we have both characters be a character reference in the same image? So I created this image. The prompt is close-up with 3D cartoon of 9-year-old girl talking with a 9-year-old boy sitting on a park bench, background, park, playground, sunny summer day. Okay, and I assembled this picture in Photoshop. The girl is actually from a different picture than the boy, and because I was going to be coming back to them and having them in different talking poses through the story I was telling, I created a picture of the out-of-focus playground and put that behind them in the picture so that every time we saw them in different poses, the background was still the same. So once I had this picture completed, I cropped just the girl and just the boy in separate images so that I could use them as individual character references. But let's look at some of the pictures that I got. 3D cartoon, 9-year-old girl smiling, imagining herself dressed in a doctor's white coat, being a doctor in a hospital, examining a patient in a hospital bed. And you see the character weight is 0. That's why she's dressed like a doctor and not like the girl on the bench. Same thing with the boy. Character weight of 0. Medium close-up 3D cartoon of 9-year-old boy imagines himself wearing a fireman's helmet, emphasis 3, and coat, emphasis 2, riding on a fire truck with lights flashing. Now, the reason I put the emphasis on is because I was not getting the fireman's hat and fireman's coat without putting those emphasis in. So when I did, I got the right uniform. We never got him riding on the fire truck, but nice picture of the fire truck in the background. So I really like this picture, so I went with this image. And then for this picture, I used that same picture of the two of them on the park bench as the character reference. And yes, indeed, I was able to get both of the characters as a character reference in one picture. Character weight is 0 again because they're dressed differently. The prompt is a 3D cartoon, 9-year-old girl in a white wedding dress, happy, and a 9-year-old boy in tuxedo, happy, imagining their wedding day as they walk down the aisle going out of the church with happy people watching from pews on both sides of the aisle. You see, going into a lot of detail here about what the image is, but we're getting exactly what we were looking for. This image, the prompt is photo, portrait of a young, friendly adult human with extremely white skin and long white hair, alien looking, very large protruding eyes that glow bioluminescent blue, dressed like a hippie, raising 2 fingers in a peace symbol, with background of large cave filled with bioluminescent, beautiful stalactites and stalagmites. I want to stop for a minute and go back on the consistent character stuff we were just talking about. The obviously version 7 is different because now for character reference you've got the omni reference, and just like I was experimenting to see if we could have more than one person in the omni reference, I've actually done images where I've had 5 different characters in the one picture and use that as an omni reference. And with omni reference, you use an omni weight. We had a character weight before, a CW. We've got an O weight, OW now, and it ranges from 1 to 1,000. Generally speaking, if you want it to be totally consistent with the wardrobe and everything, a good number to put in would be like 650 on your omni weight. If you want to change the outfits, you could go down like 100. You could go to 1, but I found that 100 is low enough to get some variation. And in addition to omni weight, now we have a style reference and we have an image reference, all of which are part of version 7. So those are things that I find are working. They're improvement over version 6, and they are. I'm getting very good consistent characters with using that. But again, you can't put in 2 omni references. You have to put in 1 omni reference. So if you want more than 1 character, go ahead and composite a picture together with the people you want to have as the omni reference. Any questions before I start up again? Okay, we'll run this now. Screen grab, bokeh, dramatic. I did not get this picture from that prompt, no matter how many times I ran it. So what I decided to do was to use the blend tool in Midjourney. So I selected blend, then you get this window and you can drag and drop 2 different pictures. Actually, you can do more than that, but starts to wonder how much emphasis is on a particular picture if you got that many pictures. I prefer to try blending 2 pictures. So the 2 pictures that I blended to get this top picture are these 2 lower ones. You see I got a white guy with 2 peace symbols. He was dressed the way I wanted, but he certainly didn't have white skin and didn't have bulging eyes. But I did get this one picture that was certainly more like what the character was that I wanted. So blending those 2 pictures, I was able to get this top picture. By the way, this was a story that I had written about cave dwellers that were discovered by some teenagers. So that story is actually in my website in the storytelling section if you want to see it. Let's look at prompt structure. I prefer to put composition first, even though they say you should put subject first. But I want to put it in close-up or landscape or wide angle or bird's eye view or whatever as a description of what the composition is going to be. Then the subject is whatever we want it to be, anything from an animal to Abraham Lincoln to futuristic cityscape. What is the medium? Is it a photograph? Is it a charcoal drawing, stained glass, graffiti, watercolor, pencil sketch? You can do any of these types of things. Folk art. Environment, mountain peaks, dense jungle, outer space, indoor, outdoor, bustling city, any of these type things. Narnia, underwater, the Emerald City, any of these environments you can use in your pictures. And the lighting is so important. Soft or overcast, neon, studio light, golden hour, moonlit, backlit, harsh shadows, sunset. Using ambient is a fill light, And then again, color, going to be in earth tones, black and white, vibrant primary colors, or warm colors, duotone, whatever it is that you are looking for your particular scene. And then I think it's very important to put in a mood, especially when you are trying to get something that is melancholy or whimsical, dramatic, nostalgic, tense, energetic, mysterious, romantic, whatever. Mood can change your picture to give you the kind of results that you really want. One of the things that you should keep in mind when you're putting in words that describe what you want in your picture is it helps to describe it in terms of size or emphasis. Like if you want something that's extremely detailed, say extremely detailed. If you want a giant, he's immense, he's, something other than just big. And, like a pencil sketch could be, like a rough pencil sketch or, that type of a thing. What type of painting is it? Is it oil paint, watercolor? Is it palette knife painting? Is it, thick, oil paint? Whatever, you want to give as much detail about it by using adjectives that describe those things. Prompts can be very simple, single words, even emojis will produce an image. Very short prompts will rely heavily on Midjourney's default style, so a more descriptive prompt is better for a unique look. However, super long prompts aren't always better. Concentrate on the main concept you want to create. I will say that the programs, all of the image programs, are doing better with longer prompts now than they used to. Midjourney does have a /describe selection, a feature that gives you 3 rewrites of your prompt, shorter, which you can then see results and modify its prompts if you'd like. On grammar, Midjourney bot does not understand grammar, sentence structure, or words like humans do. Word choices also matter. More specific synonyms work better in many circumstances. Instead of big, try gigantic, enormous, or immense. Remove words when possible. Fewer words mean each word has more powerful influence. Use commas, brackets, and hyphens to help organize your thoughts, but know that Midjourney bot will not reliably interpret them. The Midjourney bot does not consider capitalization. Check your spelling. The one exception about capitalization is if you want words to appear in a picture, you put them within quote marks. And if you put in all capital letters, it will do all capital letters. If you put in upper and lower, it'll be upper and lower. It's better to describe what you want instead of what you don't want. If you ask for a party with no cake, your image will probably include a cake. If you want to ensure that the object is not in the final image, try advanced prompting using the parameter at the end of the prompt, -- no cake. Midjourney is a great tool for brainstorming early on in your creative process because it gives you a fast response that might stimulate further ideas. When putting together a comp, you might get exactly what you want with your prompt, but you may need to use Midjourney as a stock photo source to generate that image you can't find, then be combined in Photoshop with other elements. Midjourney is just one more tool in your arsenal. It is not the answer for every job. Just because it's AI doesn't necessarily mean it's faster or cheaper to produce. I'd like to look at a few one-word prompts. The reason to study a one-word prompt is that by running that prompt by itself, you see what Midjourney does with that word. When you know how the word affects the results in a longer prompt, you'll have a better idea of what the results may be. So you're more likely to get what you want rather than just being surprised or worse yet, being disappointed. This is the one-word prompt, exuberant. These are all done in 6.1. And combining it, exuberant dance, and an exuberant explosion of color. Exuberant kids running outside the front door of a school starting summer vacation. Golden hour. Golden hour, campfire, tent and campsite, early morning, thin fog. Biomechanical. Biomechanical blue whale. Biophilic. It's the word that puts lots of plants in the surroundings, whether it's indoors or outdoors. Parametric will give you these unusual twisting shapes that have holes in them. I wanted to see what it would do with this subject. Portrait, leopard made out of colorful parametric splashing water. And you see what happens. The spots become holes in the animal instead of just being spots. Parametric office building shell gives you that kind of an image. Anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphic is the word you want to use anytime you want to have an animal doing something that's human. Bokeh. It's what we talked about before. It gives you those nice light circles in an out of focus background. Futuristic, huge battle starship jumping into hyperspace. Bokeh. Interesting use of that atmosphere in the background that you get. Rock band on stage with huge crowd. Bokeh. And this I call my bippity boppity boo prompt. Portrait, jungle insect, bioluminescent, gold and racial, cyberpunk, space alien world, shallow depth of field, Unreal Engine, extreme detail, ultra photorealistic, all combined to give us this one insect. Brian Sykes and I wrote this book together, AI Explore, snack-sized prompts and $5 words. There's over 50 one-word prompts in there, and they're illustrated, but they're also illustrated with combining with longer prompts. And it's shown in, I believe we're in both version 4 and version 5, because that's when the book came out. The prompt words will still work in current versions of Midjourney or any other AI program. If you're interested in that book or any other book that Brian has written, here's the website. The two books on the right are collaborative books where there's 10 different people that have written lessons in the book. I'm one of the writers in the second book. Once again, experiment, 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 experiment. A huge obese sailor monster sitting on the stern of the square rigger sailboat. He is so heavy the stern is almost sinking and the front of the boat is raising out of the water. Background, sunny day, storm clouds on the horizon. Well, they didn't place him in the back of the boat. Tried it again, and there's one there that looks like he's back further. The front end still isn't out. I ran the prompt again, and I kind of liked the last one, the fourth one there. Even though it wasn't exactly what I was trying to get, it still was an interesting picture. So I selected that picture and I upscaled it subtle. I also upscaled it creative. So I got this with the regular upscale subtle, and I got this with the upscale creative. The problem with the first one is it's got suction cups stuck on the guy's belly that's connected to the sails. So that doesn't make any sense. Now, this one is better, but also I like the sails better here, and I like some of the splashes better. So what I did was I enlarged both pictures, and I brought this one into Photoshop, and then I brought in the first picture and put it on top. So then what I decided to do was, since they line up perfectly, I decided that on the first layer I was going to mask out certain areas. So these are the areas that I mask out without the other layer underneath. But working with that, masking out things as I was working with the other picture underneath, we end up with this picture. So we have those nice sails, we have the wiring is not connected to his belly with suction cups, and we have nice splashes. So again, it's experimenting. There was a challenge. Before we go into this one, when I'm doing a project for a client, I've got to have it be right. It's got to have everything in it that the client wants. When I'm doing something like that last thing, which was done for Alexander Eschew's Saturday Monster Challenge, it doesn't really matter to me if I get exactly what I'm looking for. I'm putting in a little bit of time to put something into the Monster Challenge. And if I get something that I like, that works fine. And so I will do that. So anytime that I've said in here that it's something that I like the picture, so I went with that, that was because it was something I was doing for myself. And it also brings up an important part of this thinking like an art director. The thing is that one of the jobs that an art director has is, let's say a photographer goes out on location and does a photo shoot, and he comes back and he's got, a couple hundred pictures that he's taken. And so what the art director does is he goes through all those pictures, narrows it down to maybe 10, then maybe down to 3 or whatever. But he's an important part of the art directing is selecting which picture works best. And so that's kind of what is happening when I say, I like that picture, I'll go with that, rather than, trying to continue on, because I've spent enough time on it for the purpose, and it's a nice picture and I'm happy with it. This is an interesting one here. The challenge given to write prompts using one vowel, and the one vowel that I selected was E. So I did a variety of different pictures with words with E in it, but this one was creepy green eyes seem deeper when they weep. So I want to show you one other tool using this picture, and that is the zoom out feature. You can do custom zooms and again, nicer buttons in the website. I tend to use the website now and hardly ever use the Discord app. Let's look at what happens when we do a series of zoom outs. Each of the zoom outs are done 2 times. So I put together a video showing you this series of images. I ran several zoom series starting with the same photo. This is the only time that it started with an eye and ended with an eye. So let's examine various prompt samples to see what the results were from particular prompts. This one is a portrait of a large female adult gorilla cuddling a human baby. Extreme bright white on white scene, emphasis 3. Mixed human and sentient space aliens working together on experiments. Laboratory, extremely bright white, sterile environment. Extremely bright ambient light, emphasis 2. Filling the room, so very limited shadows. Future core, sci-fi core. The emphasis numbers, first of all, anytime you use them, there should be 2 different ones. You can go up to a weight of 5. But generally speaking, I don't go up that high. But like there was a 3 to compare with a 2, so it knows how much weight to put on it. I'm not sure, but I think at the moment you can't use weight emphasis in version 7. This is that cave that I was telling you about with the cave dwellers. We came upon a large cave filled with bioluminescent, beautiful stalactites and stalagmites. Screen grab, dramatic, awe-inspiring. Screen grab is a word that basically is meaning, if you were to take a movie film and select one of those frames, consider that a screen grab. So that's what this is doing. It's giving you more of a movie theatrical look by using screen grab. And again, using descriptions of the mood, dramatic, awe-inspiring. I really like the results of this long prompt. You'll see there are certain things that are not exactly following the prompt, but still the results of what I felt was a really excellent image. In her grandma's attic with exposed rafters, looking at a large old photo album on her lap, sitting on an old rocking chair, a 10-year-old girl wearing a t-shirt, shorts, and an old beat-up sun hat with fake flower decorations she found, surrounded by all the wonderful and interesting things in the attic: boxes, steamer trunks, old toys, books, warm tungsten light, and golden hour light coming from a single window. Bouquet. We didn't get those lights from bouquet, the circles in the background, but what it did do was help on the focal point. So the girl is in focus, foreground is soft, background is soft. Advertising stop action, close-up photography, product shot of only car tire, emphasis 5, splashing up water from entering a dirt road pothole at high speeds, extreme tire detail tread, screen grab, bouquet, golden hour. You'll notice it has a stylized of 800, so it's rather high. And I put in -- no car. I wanted just a picture of the tire, but this is a dramatic photo that I thought worked really well, and I was very happy with the image. Now this one gets into a bunch of photography terms. Nighttime motorcycle race, saturated red and saturated cyan, electronic shutter, second curtain flash setting for a light trail effect, motion blur, 3-second exposure, flash photography, beautiful dish lighting, screen grab, bouquet, and stylized 750. This is a short prompt, infinite geometric series. But what I found is you can use a lot of mathematical terms to get some very interesting results. Here the prompt is Dadaism portrait of a woman, 1930s style collage elements. Close-up portrait of a beautiful red-headed woman has the blues on a windy day. And then there's this style reference number. It gives us this contrast of the blue and those intense reds. Portrait of an impy-like happy old lady, caricature face that makes you smile when you see her. And the other one is portrait of an impy-like happy old Asian lady, caricature face that makes you smile when you see her. This was an experiment to see what kind of lighting you get by using lights coming in from vertical blinds. Now you'll notice the picture on the right, which was the original picture. Some reason or other, the shadow on her cheek doesn't make sense. It wouldn't be like that. So I selected that area and then added the prompt, continue light strips in shadow areas following cheek contour. The original prompt was portrait unusual, never seen before, shaped reflective sunglasses on beautiful woman enjoying a warm sunny day. And it was stylized 750 and weird 600. Because of the vertical lines on her clothing and the wall and her glasses and on her face, I decided to emphasize the vertical lines even more, so I extended the picture in mid-journey. Close-up portrait of a beautiful woman where her entire face is lit by the word beauty in different colors in a tight pattern being projected on her face. Dramatic, theatrical lighting. Future evolved mixed-race female in the future metaverse. I figure in the future, because of mixed-race marriages, that we will have more and more this kind of blended look, and that's why I was using that for the prompt, because I was doing something futuristic. Future evolved mixed-race child cyborg, futuristic extreme eye makeup, glowing hair color in the future metaverse city, future core, cyber core, stylized at 750. Future evolved mixed-race newborn cyborg, futuristic extreme eye makeup, glowing hair color in the future metaverse city, future core, again 750 stylized. And again using the same prompt, getting this kind of results. Now notice none of them really gave me extreme eye makeup, but still we got some very interesting pictures. Future evolved mixed race newborn infant cyborg in the future metaverse city future core cyber core stylized 750. Fibonacci sequence cyborg. There's another mathematical term. High fashion super tech robots all in pink surrounded by high tech pink world. Then of course if you want to have a Marilyn Monroe bot, the prompt is photo portrait of a robot that looks like Marilyn Monroe. Lighting, high fashion, shocking beauty, stylized 750. Notice the mouths are all the same. High fashion, modest wear on Middle Eastern woman. And this has a style reference that has given us this kind of coloration. And this is the same prompt with a different style reference. I did a series of pictures for Fashion Forward magazine, and this is 3 of them. Full-length photo, highly ornate, rococo, futuristic, metallic, high fashion, combined with futuristic technology, worn by beautiful mixed-race, high fashion, male or female, models with rococo fantasy hairstyles, standing alongside a futuristic hovercraft, urban style, golden hour bouquet. Haute couture based on orchid blossoms, based on peony blossoms. Another orchid one on the right. Women blended into art. The chaos is 60, stylized 1,000, weird is 3,000. Same prompt, different results. You see the big variety you get in pictures when you use a high stylized number or a high weird number. Woman dressed in water, dancing and splashing all blue tones, watercore, stylized 1,000. A violent lightning storm framed inside a profile silhouette of a beautiful woman on a white background. Extreme close-up of a woman's neckline with a gold and jeweled snake necklace curled around her neck. She is wearing a white plunging neckline evening gown. Now this one, I want you to see, this is not a stylized number. This is just created by my prompt. Strange, elongated, simple figures, black and white, flat color images with yellow accents, symbolizing man and woman talking using their hands, odd geometric shaped background. Black woman, Rhapsody in Blue, and a style reference number that gives us this blue tone. Close-up portrait of a woman member of a bizarre cult where people dress up as beautiful, emphasis to, birds, greatly detailed, dramatic lighting, outdoor, out-of-focus background, emphasis 1. Well, we got a dark background, but that's okay. We got this truly weird picture, and this was one of the pictures that Laser's Archives selected for this year's 200 Best Digital Artists Worldwide Annual. Red-headed woman in her 20s wearing an orange windbreaker and jeans, hair blowing in a very strong wind, standing on the white cliffs of Dover, looking out towards the sea at this stormy, extremely rough sea. Waves crashing on cliffs, clouds, very heavy diagonal rain, heavy fog, moody, ultra photorealistic, in a stylized of 750. Here's another example of a prompt that is written that gives you this kind of results rather than a stylized number. Portrait of a young mixed-race woman created with a limited palette of blues and violets, sad and disappointed but determined to carry on. Portrait of a young mixed-race woman created with limited palette of blues and violets, drawn with sweeping lines, strong graphic flair, sad and disappointed but determined to carry on. And the 2 outer ones are that same prompt, and the difference in the middle one, it includes a mixed-race woman laying in her bed, created with a limited palette, and so on. I hope you've enjoyed looking at these samples, and I hope you've gotten some new ideas on how to prompt pictures to get the kinds of results that you want. Speaking of experiment, please go to my website. There are 7 AI galleries. Characters, landscapes, animals and creatures, sci-fi, AI styles, architecture, and experimental. Each one of them has multiple pictures in it, and you can click on each of these thumbnails and you will get a large image and can scroll through the large images. Thank you for joining this session today. Okay, that is it. So now, any comments, questions, anything that's in there, or any other thoughts?
I do have a question, Al. That Zoom image with the eye, and you went smaller and smaller and smaller with the woman. How did you do it that exactly?
Each of those images was a 2-time zoom. And so what's actually happening is you're widening out the view each time. So you're going back further and further as you do that in the appearance of that. You can do a zoom. Those were all done at twice up. You can do it 1.5 up, I think it was. And you can add to the picture in different size and everything. But the thing is that what happens, that was done shortly after they came out with a zoom effect, and I just wanted to, again, me and my experimenting, just keep going. What happens when you keep going? How does it happen? And that's what happened with it.
So you started with the big image, and then you went smaller and smaller, or vice versa.
Well, I started with the close-up of the eye. The first one you see was the first picture. The next, it widens out further, widens out further, widens out further.
And you did that with the editing tool in Midjourney.
Yeah, I use the zoom tool.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it's called Zoom. It's not in the editing function.
Yeah, well, let me look at
It's the resize in editing, no?
I want to look at Midjourney. It's got a different term, but I'll get it here.
I think it's called resize.
Yeah. Let me get to a still picture.
Because I tried to do something like that, and I had difficulties.
Yeah. The edit tool, you can do stuff inside, and
And you work in the normal Midjourney area. You don't do all that in Discord, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you do your images? I mean, in the beginning you had to do it in Discord, no? And now you have the Midjourney platform.
Yeah, and frankly, I prefer the website.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking at the edit thing. There's erase, but there's also variations in. I'm thinking there is a button someplace or other that gives me more choices of editing tools. But it is definitely I know it's there. I just I think what's happening is I don't have all the editing. Oh, there's a more options button. Okay, I push the more options button, and then it gives you very upscale, remix, pan, zoom, and more actions. When you push zoom, now you have a choice of zooming 1.5 or 2 times. Okay, so where it says creative actions above the list of buttons for upscaling or varying or whatever, if you push the more options button, that's how you can get more options in the list of buttons, and zoom will be there.
Can you share your screen? Because I can't find it.
Sure. Sure. Okay, looking over on the right side, there is this more options button. And you see this little thing comes up. There's zoom, pan, remix. You can have all of those selected, and they'll all show up there. So you see the pan has arrows that show you. The zoom has the 1.5 and 2 times zoom.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Eric, by the way. Just say, let me see.
I just asked, how do you get the style reference number? Everyone's selling these things or showcase. I think I know, I can't remember.
Can tell you how to get the style reference number. Put in sref and then any number you want. And they just try it out. They go from 1 to like 9 billion, 90 billion. Literally, I have tried to see how high of a number I can put in and not have it be a style reference. They just tons of them. So
I mean, if you have created something.
let me say there are people who keep references of style reference numbers, and they have it on their site. I'd have to refresh my memory as to who, but let me look that up, and let me try to send that to you, Teresa.
Okay, no problem.
But what I do, and when you see somebody using a style reference number on LinkedIn and it looks interesting, what I will do is I will copy that style reference number, and then I'll go to Midjourney and I'll do any kind of image using that style reference number. So I've got that style reference number saved in my list of images. Some people, keep like a Word document or something like that where they list the ones they like. But literally, put in 20, put in 28, put in 1,236,000, and you'll see what it does. And you'll like some of those style references, and you'll not like some of them.
I understand, but how do I save mine that I've created? Where do I find it once I've created something?
Well, all your images, if you created in Midjourney, are there. You just have to scroll through them.
And the style reference is there?
The prompt is all there.
Okay, I'll take a look. Thank you.
For every image, your prompt is there. And
well, I think, sorry, if I may interrupt, I had that question a few months ago, and I don't think, what I think you're trying to say, Teresa, is you have an image and you want to extract this ref from it, the SRF. That is not possible. Or if you already have an SRF code and you've used that in a prompt, then it's easy to find it. But you can't just drop in an image and extract a SRF code from it. Right, Al? Correct me if I'm wrong.
If you have saved the image to your computer, for example, the style reference number may not necessarily be in that shortened version of the thing. But if you, let's say, for example, you did a style reference with a picture of a pirate ship, you can do a search in your images and put in pirate ship, and any image that you've come up with that is of a pirate ship will appear there, and the prompts will be with it. So,
Okay, that's still not the answer to what I was asking, but don't worry. I'm curious what Eric has to say.
okay, well, it's just, the style references are just innumerable,
Yes,
you
thank you.
just have to put in dash dash sref and then any number you want. Okay, Eric, got a question, my friend?
Hey, Big Al, thanks again for the presentation. This was great. Just a note on SREFs, if you want to do some SREF mining, it's always fun to do SREF random, and you could do SF random, and you could see the results that you get. And if you see images that you like, it will give you the SREF number, and that's one way of getting an SREF number to see it, to get an image that you like. Again, it's based on the classic Big Al mantra of experiment, experiment, experiment. That's one thing that I do to mine for SREFs. My question to you, Big Al, is, when you created this was, before we had seven, even before we had a lot of these SREFs, and even before we had, mood boards and personalization. So, have you adopted using SREF's mood board and personalization into your prompts? And if so, how? And, would you have created these images differently having those tools available at that time?
Okay. The I don't do a lot of personalization, and I guess it's because of the fact that I'm working for people like yourself as art director, creative directors who want specific things, and I usually am prompting with a style 50 because that gives me the closest to my prompt than any of the other city. I think even more so than raw. And but when I am experimenting around with things, um, I will use some style references, but again, it's a matter of uh, what am I trying to do? I am able to, like I showed in some of those things that look like I used a style reference, I'm able to prompt stuff to look exactly the way I want. If I want to just experiment and just, I don't care, I don't have anything in particular in mind, then I might put in a style reference number, or I'll see something that somebody else did with a style reference number and think, that might work on this subject and try that. I have not created a mood board as such, but I have done a personalization, and I also have they have a generic personalization that they've given to me, and sometimes I use that, and sometimes I turn it off, and sometimes I turn it on to see what the difference is in the results. And then I haven't done mood boards, but on the other hand, when I work in Pimento, that's exactly what I'm doing. Because if you're trying to create a character reference there, you're going to put in 15, 20, 25 or more images to establish a character reference, or for a style reference, or for a subject, or I don't know if they call it subject or mood or what. There's three different settings that they have, but that's exactly what you're doing. You're saving all those pictures in there, and I've done that in Pimento because that's really the way you've got to work with Pimento. I mean, you can put in a prompt, but if you want to have some sort of consistency, you've got to put together what is essentially a mood board or a personalization list of pictures, and it works quite well for that. I've done a number of things where I wanted a certain style of cartoon character, and I had it was actually a phony assignment. Somebody told me they wanted something for a school in New Hampshire, and that they were going to send me a check so that I would, get that, so that they knew they were serious. And so I continued working on the project, but the check wasn't coming. And they did have they had a tracking number, and the tracking number said that it was in some other city, and that something or other about, that it not traveled the right way. I never got the check, but the thing is, I never gave them the artwork either, because it was becoming more and more suspicious. And I said, I will gladly give you the images once I receive the check. And the guy disappeared and never did it. But I ended up with 3 interesting samples, if anybody's ever looking for it. But they liked a certain 3D image that I had created, using some Daz cartoony figures. And rather than posing Daz figures to give these images, because they were too complex and the budget was low enough that I wouldn't have done it that way. So I trained Permento on the styles and created the images in Permento, and got 3 interesting pictures.
Very cool. Yeah, unfortunately there are those people out there like that. Just one other question. Can you achieve the same character consistency results using omni-reference in Midjourney?
Yeah, I find it's very successful. That Western cartoon video that I've been working on for months now,
Yes.
because I'm always getting jobs that come in or something else that interferes, like, that I'm like halfway through with the video, and I've been able to use these characters. There's one scene where there's 5 cowboys riding their horses towards the camera, and I used that as an omni reference, and I got all 5 of the cowboys in the picture, and I also got all 5 of the cowboys when I animated it and moving them forward. So I'm getting some. I'm doing all the animation in Midjourney because it costs money in these other programs, and I'm paying the higher Midjourney price now because of the animation capabilities. But because I'm rendering everything at the relaxed speed, I have unlimited number of animations I can do. So that's how I'm doing those right now. But they're really fun, and they're, I'm doing it like it was a TV show, TV show called Tales from the Old Wild West, and this episode is the legend of Lucky Briggs and the Shy Little Kid, and it is a comic cartoon, funny cartoon about a gunfight. So if anybody can make a gunfight humorous, I can make a gunfight humorous. So I'm hoping one of these days to be able to finish this thing up. I was working on it again, and then the client gave me a go-ahead on this project, so I'm working on that now. But one of these days, perhaps by fall, I'll have the thing finished.
I'll certainly look forward to seeing it.
So anything else, folks? We've run over a bit, but more than happy to answered questions and things, and very glad you came, today. Again, this video is on YouTube, and you're welcome to take a look at any of the videos that are there. I will be, this has been recorded, and I will be doing some editing of the video, and then I will be posting that as well. So what we've done today, in addition to that video, will be available as well. And one last reminder that main event 128 next Friday is an interview with Brian Lipinski, who does some remarkable pictures, and really highly recommend attending that one, because you'll be blown away. My comment about this when I posted about it was, I'm expecting the word that I hear the most next week is wow, and just very interesting stuff. Any last words before we're ready to go? And if not, I will stop recording, and we'll finish up the session.
Thank you very much, Al. Appreciate it.
All righty.
Thank you, Al. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.